Hi guys, welcome to Fitness and Tech Insights. Okay, so this is the lesson 4 in our AutoCAD series. And today we're going to learn how to dimension objects, write on them, that's the annotation tool, and maybe do a few other stuffs. In our last class, we learned how to draw two-dimensional objects. And okay, I think we are going to start from there. So if you've not if this is your first time of watching this video, so I'll advise you go and look at lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3 so that you know how we got to this point. All right, so I'm going to go to open and I'll open a new, not new, sorry. So okay, so this was what we did last. Okay, so now I said we're going to try to dimension this and maybe annotation. We're just going to generally look at this annotation toolbar and then stuff we can do from here. All right, now I here we have text, we have dimension. So text is for writing, like for labeling. Assuming this, I want to label this part, like I want to label this, I call it circle and whatever I want to write generally. I'm going to use the text tool, and it works once it opens the text editor. It works just like writing in Microsoft Word, so nothing very difficult with it. Okay, and then this is our dimension. If you look at this here, look at there's a small arrow here. I'm going to expand on it, so you're going to see different dimension styles: linear, aligned, angular, arc length, radius, diameter, ordinate, jog. So these are different dimension styles depending on what you want to do. Of course, if you want to dimension a circle, you're going to be dimensioning with either radius or diameter depending on what you want, and stuff like that. For straight lines, you can use linear, you can use aligned, and the rest. So these are different dimension styles. Okay, now look at the annotation here with a small arrow. We click on it and then it expands. So there are still some other options here. Standard. Okay, we're going to come to that. All right, now let's say we want to start dimensioning this object. Okay, basically this object is made up of a lot of circles, so let's start with diameter dimensions. I'm going to pick diameter. Now what's the instruction? Select arc or circle. Okay, so I'm going to select this circle as, okay, let's start with the base circle. Let's start with this circle. That was the first we drew, so I'm going to touch it, and once you click on it, once you touch the circle, you just have to extend, go to a convenient distance and drop the dimension. Okay, now look at this. I've dimensioned this. It looks like a line, but I've dimensioned. Let me zoom into this. Can you see this? Good. So look at this, diameter 55. I've dimensioned this actually, but now you look at this. Now normally you will be viewing this drawing maybe like this, and you discover that from this the dimension is not visible. So now anytime you dimension and you want to edit your dimension, so just click on that your dimension line or the text or whatever, just double click on it. Once you double click on it, it opens, you can see it opens a window where you can adjust and deal with the dimension. Okay, so now I'm going to let's follow this gradually. Look at under the styles, we have here, this is the text height. You can see 0.18, sorry, 0.18. That's the text height. Now if I increase that, okay, so let's say I'm going to highlight this dimension and I'm going to change this to, okay, so I'll change this to, let's say 5 or thereabout. Can you see this? The dimension becomes bigger. Good. Now look at what we have. Dimension becomes bigger. Okay, I've exited. Let me double click on it again. Okay, it becomes bigger, and okay, and now look at for the formatting. I have the font by default is in area, so look at this. I can expand on it. I said earlier that it works almost like Microsoft Office product, so you can see I can change to whatever font I want to use, and then by layer is white, so if I want it to be in another color I can change the color, but that's not what we are doing now. Okay, let's just leave it at that now. So this is it. Now I have this. Now let's say I want to dimension again. I go to this thing. Let's use a reduced dimension this time around. Okay, so I'm going to pick this and let's dimension one of these 4 circles. So I'm I'm going to keep this. Now, I want you to notice something. This is dimensioned also. I've also dimensioned this. This is reduce 10. Okay, reduce 10. Now, you discover that if I continue like this, it means that whenever I place a new dimension or whenever I dimension a new part of this drawing, I will have to go double click on it, go and edit again, and this is going to be very, very stressful. So it's always advised, if you want to dimension your objects, you go to this annotation. Now watch this. This is standard. The first one, this is for setting up your text style, but we're not working with text now. We are looking at the second is for dimension style. So I'm going to click on it and I'll say manage dimension style. So what we want to do here is we want to set up this dimension, the dimension styles, and we're going to put in our preferences, and then it's going to work on the entire object. So we don't need to click one dimension, adjust the dimension, set the font. Say no, we are going to do this as a one-off thing, and then once we are dimensioning inside anything we are dimensioning inside this drawing environment, it's just going to use all the attributes we've set already. Okay, so this is it, and then we are going to say new. Okay, new if we want to rename this, but there is no need. Let's just set this standard one. I don't think there's any need for creating a new one. I can put a new one and then name it whatever I want, but there won't be need for that. So we just go to modify. Okay, so we go to modify. Now look at this. There are a series of operations we need to perform. First of all, I'm going to explain this one by one. Okay, lines. So here we are going to say adjust the lines whichever way we want. You can look at this extension. Now, when we talk about lines in dimensioning, there are two lines. A dimension basically consists of two lines: the dimension lines and the extension lines. Now, you know that. Let me explain what each is. Now, let's start with extension lines. Now, extension line, you know that when you click on the part you want to dimension, you move your cursor away from it. So the line from that point, from the part you're dimensioning to the place where you want to place the text, you see that there's a line. Now in this, can you see my arrow? Look at this line, look at this line. These are extension lines. I hope you're seeing my cursor. Look at this line, look at this line. These are extension lines because these lines are able to extend the height, the whatever we want to write. We use it to push it away from the part itself. So they are extension lines. And then you can see the line with the arrowhead is the dimension line. That's where we put the height, the actual size of whatever we are dimensioning. So by block, look at this. By color, the first is color. We can adjust it. By default is white since we are drawing on a black background, so we don't want to mess with that. We have line type. We don't want to mess with that also. We want to leave the tick, the continuous line. So other, we can see other line types, but we don't want to do that. Line weight, you can increase or reduce the weight, making it thinner or thicker. So again, we don't want to mess with this also, so we're going to leave it like that. Now there is a suppress. You can see, let me check this suppress. You see dimension line. So if I click on this, it removes one of the dimension line. I click on dimension line to remove, so it means that the text is just floating. So but we don't want to do that. So we are still leaving that. We don't want to do that. Now we have, let's leave this. Let's leave this. This is not, we can't touch this. It's by default 0, 0, 0. Now the baseline spacing is 0.38 by default. I can increase it. Sets the spacing. Okay, you can see this sets the spacing between the dimension lines of a baseline dimension. So okay, let's leave that also. These are not so important. Let's not play with. So okay, now for the extension lines, I have, again, you can suppress it. Now you can see, can you see? That's the one extension line gone, extension line 2 gone. So you see that the dimension lines are just hanging in the air. They are not touching the part we are dimensioning from, and this may look a little bit tricky. So we'll just check this and we return our extension lines. Okay, as usual, you can adjust the color, we can adjust the line type, we can adjust thickness. So remember this extension line 1, extension line 2. So So, but that's not what we want to do. I think the important thing here is this offset from origin for this extension line, offset from origin. Now, this is the distance from the point we are from, where like this defines how away it is from the part we are dimensioning. Now, if I increase it, that means it moves further away from what I'm dimensioning. Let me make it 1, and can you see how they are far? Can you see where it moved to? Can you see where it moved to? Now, okay, so okay, let me be reducing it uniformly so that we'll be seeing. Let's do 0.5. So just keep your eyes on this extension line and see how it changes when I put 0.5, enter. Can you see that? Okay, so but let's go back. I'll just do 0.1 because I want it to be very, very close to the part we had mentioned. So I'll leave it at 0.1. 0. Oh, sorry, I've not played this. I'll leave it at 0.1. Enter. Okay, so I think it's okay like this. Good. So that we know exactly the start and the end points of this particular dimension. Okay, so that's the offset from origin. Then extend beyond dimension lines. Now you can see that, watch my cursor, you can see that this is my extension line, this is my dimension line. You can see that it did not terminate exactly on the dimension line. It didn't terminate there, it extended beyond it, so we can adjust how far it's going to extend beyond this. So that's what this does. Then okay, let's check the next one, symbols and arrows. So these are, you can see there are, of course, there are 2 arrows, so for the first and the second. So you can see that we can choose different types of arrowheads, box type, triangular types, shaded, unshaded, and the rest. So but we are not going to mess with this. Arrow size, this is 0.18. Can you see that? So let me increase it to, let's say, 0.3. 0.3, enter. Can you see that the arrowhead has, the size of the arrowhead has increased? So just like that, we can continue increasing to what we want. Okay, and any important thing. Okay, let's quickly move to text. This is where, this is the most important part actually. You can see 0.18 by default. I think the one I did initially, I did it 5. So good, so put 5. So good, this is our text height 5. So that means this 5 should be eligible, so it should be readable. Okay, so that's the important thing. Then the placement is all where we centered it. You can push it to the right, you can push it to the left, but it's always, you can see, you can push it above, sorry, not left and right, above the dimension line, below the dimension line. But this one centered, it's on it. It's on it, so we are going to leave it like that. Okay, there's another important thing. Okay, primary units, good. There's another important thing. So watch this, round off. Round off. That's why you can see this is, it's rounding it off to 4 decimal places, but this can be very, very unnecessary. So round off, sorry, I've gone to another thing. So round off, so we are going to do 0.00. so is that, no, precision, sorry, precision, don't, okay, it's precision, good. So we are going to do it to 2 decimal places. I think it's better and easier, so we're leaving it at 2. So if even assuming we want to round up everything to whole numbers, we put at 0 decimal, so you see that all your dimensions come out in whole number. So this is very important. You decide the precision, how many decimal places you want your dimensions to be rounded up to. So I think this is very important. It's good we take note of that. Okay, I'm trying to skip. Then for what do you want to be using as your decimal separator? By default is period. Sometimes you may want to use comma or whatever, so but by default is period. So we are going to leave it like that. And okay, I think we are good. We don't want to change a lot of things so that we don't run into troubles. Okay, so I'm going to say okay, and when I'm done with this setting, now watch this, we are going to say set current. So we are going to say set current and close. So okay, I did it 5. It was supposed to be 0.5. It was supposed to be 0.5. Look at my my dimension is now bigger than all my entire drawing. Okay, it was supposed to be 0. Let's see, 138. Wow, Okay, I had dimension here. Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't worry, I'm escaping. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to delete this and then we start our dimensioning from our friend. Okay, good. So I'm going to delete this and then now after this setting, let's see how it affects it. Okay, so I'm going to dimension. Okay, what's this? Reduce. I'm going to dimension this with reduce. Can you see that? Can you see that? Are you noticing it's now in two decimal places? Now watch again. I'm going to dimension that one. We use diameter the other time. Now watch this. Can you see that? So we are now maintaining a uniform. We are maintaining a uniform dimension style. So not dimension one, double click and start adjusting. No, 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 no. Okay, let's try and do something. Maybe a linear. Okay, let's do an align because the line is bend. Let's look at this. Let's look at this here to there. Okay, can you see this? Can you see this? Good. And so I can just continue like this on and on and on. I can let's see linear. Let's see linear. It's just for line. It should be the same with this other. Look at this. So they are the same. Good. They're the same. This is linear. You see, it's just straight like this. No, can't go sideways. Okay. So I'm going to escape this. There is no need for this. So you can see what we have. Okay, our radius. Let's this fillet we did here. Let's try and dimension it. Let's do the radius. Let's dimension it. Okay. So struggling to find where to place it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we can place it here. Doesn't disturb drawing. Okay, so this is it with dimensioning. All right, so we can continue like this and until we finish the entire dimension. Okay, now we are going to quickly look at text. Now let's look at text. It has an arrow symbol. Okay, we are going to select text. Now I click wherever I click on and I can open a text window. Okay, so I can write whatever I want to write. I call this 2D practice. I'm going to call this 2D practice. When I'm done, I just click anywhere away from it. So look at it. Can you see how tiny this is? Again, I can double click on it and go to start adjust. I can double click on it. So I'll highlight this and what will I do? Okay, 0.2. That's all. But it's still tiny. We used 5. We used 5. So I'm going to do 5. Good. So this is it. This is it. Now I want us to get something. Now if the same way, assuming if I want to set my text generally the way I did for my dimensions, so I'm going to come to this place. The first one is text styles. This I'm going to do manage text style. So the same thing we did for the dimension. So here we are going to manage it. We are going to choose the font we want to be using, the height of the text, the width and everything. And when we've done this, it remains constant throughout our drawing. So we don't need to be adjusting it one after the other. It's going to waste a lot of time. So when we do finish up with that, we say set current. Okay, so we're not going to waste our time on this. I already explained that during with the dimension. Now let me tell you something that is very important. At this point is very important we note. Now once you have written, let's look at this text. Okay, let's look at this text. Now once you've written anything in AutoCAD, once you've written and you've exited the text editor, AutoCAD now treats that text as a drawing the same way it treats a drawing. Every other thing you can do to a drawing, you can do to that text. When I mean everything, every operation you can perform. Now you can copy the text. Let's see. If I want to copy, take this, select object, I select it, then select this point. Can you see? I can copy. Remember what we said about the auto? I can copy, I can place anywhere. Remember what we said about the auto? If I put my auto on, good. So I have restriction. I can only copy vertically. Can you see that? Or horizontally. So I can copy, let's say place this here. I can place another one here. Okay, escape. I can move now. I can rotate. Let's try that one. I can rotate now. Select this object, click on rotate, select base point. Now can you see? Good. So I can rotate 90, 180, 270, 360. So that is it. Why? Because immediately I have written this text and I've exited the text editor, this text will now be treated like every other object, like every other drawing, and any operation I can perform on any drawing, I can do that for this text. Okay, I can also move it. Okay, there is a fast way of moving it. I click, I hold on it, and then I drag to position. That's the fast way of moving the text. Okay, so can you see this? I can, let me try to reposition. Good. So this is it. So with this we should be able to dimension, right, put a text on our drawing, and okay, we have something is remaining. We have our leader. Our leader is assuming we want to label, so it's like writing and dimensioning at the same time. Like the dimension line, you're still going to have the dimension. Look, watch this. So let's say I want to label this. I'm going to put it. Can you see that? And now it opens a text editor instead of giving me dimension. So I can call it whatever I want. I can say 4 circles. 4 circles. What's the radius? Okay, R. Then enter. Okay, so that's it. Now is there again. Don't forget, we want to set it up like the rest. I'll still go to this place. We still go to this place. Can you see standard multi header text, manage multi? So here again, modify. So here again, we can again modify it. And you can see the size is still with the default size of it. So we can make it 5. Okay. And remember, set current. Once we are done, set current so that it immediately starts affecting what you have on the screen. Okay, so that is it. Now if I repeat this, you're going to see that it's going to be, if I repeat this, so you, okay, now let's, okay, so I'm going to quickly leave that. Before I want to escape. Yes. Okay, good. That's it. So and I'm deleting this. Okay, now one more thing before we come to the end of this particular lesson. Now I'm going to show you how to put section lines, gradient, how to put section lines. Okay, so if I want to put section lines, we are going to use the gradient tool. We have it here. The gradient, the hash and gradient. What, there is an arrow here. If I extend, you can see gradient. So there is gradient, there is hash. Hash is for sectioning, gradient is for coloring, but they work exactly the same way. Okay, so I'm going to explain this as the last part of this class. Now, remember in our last class the assignments I gave? Yes, I just remember the assignment I gave the last time. Some of the drawings were sections, and I said we will look at it in this class. That I said you should just draw the shape, leave it, and then when we come to this class I show you how to hash it. So that's what we want to do now. So we're going to select the hash. And okay, again it opens a window. Now one thing to note here is that you cannot hash, you can only hash an enclosure. So this circle must be completely closed, the edges must be completely closed before this hash tool is going to work. Okay, so it's saying pick internal points. Can you see any internal? Can you see this? Any internal point? Can you see this? Could be this circle. Okay, so for purpose of aesthetics, let's hash these circles, the 4 circles. Okay, so we've done that. All right, and now look at this. It's looking like paint, but it's not actually a paint. This is, if I zoom, can you see it? If I keep zooming and zooming and zooming, you're going to see that it's actually, but they are so close together that they look like. So we still have a little bit of editing to do. So we have hatch pattern scale is 1, so we can increase that. We can increase that. Can you see it? We can increase that. So as we're increasing it, the lines are separating. The spaces between the lines are getting larger, and it's making more sense. Okay, I'll just put a value. I'll say 15. Enter. Can you see this? Good. So this is more like it. Okay, and we can always play with the angle. We can always play with the watch this angle. So you can always change the angle. You can always change the angle of hashing depending on what you want to achieve from 0 to 360. So if I want it the other way, I can change to 90, I can change to 180, 270, and 360. So this is it. So I'm returning to, so this is that. And what else can we do? Okay, I think we still have standard hash patterns that we may want to use. Now you can look at, these are standard patterns, so I can extend on it. You see these are different. ANSI 131, angle, ANSI 132, and the rest. Okay, so now that is it. And when I'm done, I'm going to click on the green good and close this hash window. Okay, now finally we want to look at the gradient part, so I'm going to extend on that arrow again, and then I click on gradient. Okay, now the same way we hash, if you look at this editor, you're going to discover it's very, very similar to that of hash. The difference is that instead of hash patterns, we have different colors. So whatever, again, I still have to pick an internal point, and can you see that? So I'm using 2 colors. We can have a mixture of 2 colors. So for this case, blue and yellow, we can still use 1 color. Depending on what we want. Okay, so this is it. This is 2 colors. Okay, let's say red, 2 colors. So different ways we can mix it. I can just use 1 color. So watch this. Okay, good. So I've unchecked that. So this is just red, and there are different tints of reds. Yeah, now watch this. As I'm dragging the tint, can you see what so are you seeing it? So I can tint it whichever way I like. I can change the angle, like the dark side and whatever. I can put it wherever I want, depending on what I want to achieve, and the rest. I can also change the transparency. It's opaque now, so transparency is 0. So I can increase the transparency. Let's say I have a write-up behind. Okay, let's try and do something. I'm going to escape, and I'm going to delete this hatch. I'm going to delete this hatch. Okay, good. I'm going to delete this hatch. Then let's say this 2D practice we wrote, let me move it into this place. Okay, good. Now I'm going to move it into this place. Then we go back to the hatch. And saying selecting an empty. Okay, now can you see what happens? Okay, we didn't even need this to. There was no need for this to. There's actually no need for this to show you the transparency. There was no need for that to show you the transparency. I will go back to, okay, so watch the transparency. Now you see that now the transparency is 0, but I can increase it. Now as I'm increasing the transparency, can you see? You're seeing the background grid lines until 100%. So okay, I'm going to return it, and I don't know if we have anything left. Okay, I've already shown you can use 2 colors. I check again, you can use 2 colors, combination of 2 colors. Okay, so now these are different combinations of colors. Okay, thank you very much for watching today's video, and please again don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.